Have you ever just stopped and looked at a massive bridge or a skyscraper and really wondered how? How do they build these incredible things with such mind-blowing precision? Well, it turns out behind a lot of them is this kind of hidden framework, an unseen rule that makes what seems impossible totally possible. And it all boils down to one brilliant, simple idea. So let me pose a question for you. Imagine you have two teams. They start digging a tunnel towards each other from opposite sides of the English Channel. That's 38 kilometers under the sea. How in the world do they make sure they meet right in the middle and not end up miles apart? Now, I know what you're thinking. Oh, that's easy. Lasers, satellites, GPS, right? And yeah, of course, that high-tech stuff was a huge help. But the real secret, the fundamental principle that made the whole thing work, is something way older and, honestly, surprisingly simple. And here it is. It's called the Surveyor's Golden Rule. Always work from the whole to the part. That's it. That one little idea is the key to controlling tiny errors and pulling off feats of precision that seem almost magical. Okay, the absolute best way to get your head around this is to think about a jigsaw puzzle. You wouldn't just grab two random little pieces from the middle of the box, click them together, and just hope the whole 1,000-piece picture works out in the end, would you? Of course not. So here's how it works. The right way, the whole to part way, is to build the frame first, right? You get the edges done. That locks in the overall shape, creating this boundary that contains and controls any little mistakes you make on the inside. The wrong way is trying to build a bunch of small clumps, the parts, and then trying to jam them together. Every tiny error, every little piece that's not quite right, it just adds up and snowballs. By the end, nothing fits. And this is exactly what they did for the Channel Tunnel. First, they established the whole. They created the super-duper accurate survey network of control points that stretched all the way across the English Channel. Then, and only then, did they guide the parts, those two gigantic tunnel boring machines, making sure they stuck to the path laid out by that master framework. So after years of digging, chewing through 38 kilometers of rock and chalk, deep beneath one of the busiest shipping lanes in the entire world, the two tunnels finally got close. And when they finally broke through, the final error was just 358 millimeters. That's about the width of a big dinner plate. Just let that sink in. Over a 38-kilometer journey, deep underground, they were off by less than the length of a ruler. It's absolutely incredible. So you see, that's the real power of this idea. Working from the whole to the part isn't about getting rid of errors completely. That's just not possible. It's about controlling them. It's about containing them so they can't add up and turn into a complete disaster. And you know, this is why this rule is still so incredibly important today. Sure, we have amazing tools, drones, satellites, laser scanners that are way faster and gather way more data. But at the end of the day, all they're really doing is giving us better ways to establish the whole and measure the parts. The technology always changes. The fundamental principles, they last. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other invisible frameworks, what other simple, powerful rules like this are hiding in plain sight, quietly shaping the complex world we see all around us every single day?